Welcome everyone to Wednesday afternoon, looking at desires, the lower level of awareness that are blocking our hearing of the voice for God. And I'm joined today by guests. Woohoo! Renee, Kathleen. Hi, Martin. Welcome. Can you hear us? Okay, I'm not sure. And Laura, so there are 5 of us today. We'll see if Eric makes it or not. Let's begin with the light of infinite being. Let's take a moment to check in. And every time we think of it, we want to be checking in with the light, because that's like the voice for God. That's checking in with all that is. And we want to be listening, taking responsibility for our minds and really tuning in and asking and listening and then speaking what we're hearing. And that's what we're all committed to here with these joinings. So Jesus, below our level of awareness, what desire would you have us look at today for the healing of the mind and a service to the whole? What I'm hearing is something that came up this morning in our light circle. And I think Laura introduced it. And that is what to do when we feel attacked by a brother. Was that it, Laura?
It was something or controlled by.
Feeling, yeah, experiencing attacked and feeling controlled by a brother. Is anyone hearing any other desire that's come up recently they want to bring to the light circle?
Something.
Okay, Kathleen?
The desire to play small.
Okay, Kathleen's been hearing the desire to play small. So the desire to play small, we're looking at the desire to feel controlled by a brother. Is there anything else you're hearing from the voice within that maybe has come up for you recently that you want to bring to the light circle for us to possibly look at? So let's check within and ask which desire would be most useful for us to look at right now in the light circle here.
Also, I was hearing the desire to downplay the experience of not being at peace.
Okay, the desire to downplay the experience of not being at peace. Oh, no big deal. I'm not at peace. So what?
It's like face of innocence too, not wanting to admit when I'm not at peace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Jesus, what desire would you have us look at? Well, I'm hearing the last one that Renee popped in.
Yep.
They're all good. The desire to, oh, now I've lost the word.
Downplay.
Downplay. I was going to say denigrate, and I'm like, no, that wasn't the word. The desire to downplay not feeling at peace. Oh, it's no big deal if I'm not at peace. So let's look at the relishing of this desire not to be at peace and downplay it, like it's no big deal if I'm not at peace.
The thought comes, I should know better than this, or I know better than this.
And I'm also hearing it's another variation of the wanting to play small that Kathleen brought up.
I'm hearing like the first one was guilt, and then the second one wanting to play small is fear, maybe.
Can you all hear okay? Yeah, Eric and, okay, good, and Martin, okay.
Relishing the sense of unworthiness to even recognize I'm not at peace.
Hmm. Yeah, he's saying, I don't even know when I'm not at peace.
Yeah, the discomfort has become so natural. It's like second nature.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'll be uncomfortable, but then I see how I want to distract or divert rather than go directly to Jesus and say, okay, I'm not at peace. What do I need to see?
Relishing that sense of numbing out,
Hmm.
believing that's my salvation.
And it's become so normal and habitual that I don't even recognize it
Mhm.
when I'm not at peace.
Right.
And we want to look at how much we want this, the wanting. If it wasn't for the wanting of all these desires, we'd be at peace.
Mhm.
Or at least this is what Jesus tells us.
For a moment there, I could really feel my mind drifting off. And so I just remembered his injunction to use the power of your mind to stay focused on the presence, the power of the presence that's looking through us.
Yeah, these sessions, any joining sessions are such amazing opportunities to be responsible for our own mind and to talk and listen to the voice within. It's great. One more opportunity to redirect our mind inward and listen to spirit.
Yeah, there's definitely a desire to hold on to the pain and the discomfort of not being at peace.
Mhm.
There's a relishing of the pain.
Yeah, Jesus, do we find heaven in this desire? If I just ignore any discomfort or any lack of peace, do I think there's heaven in that?
Yes.
And power, like a one-up of
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Jesus, what value do we find in this desire and holding this desire? What's the value we get out of this?
I'm hearing it's the perfect ticket for isolation. Yeah, for keeping a personal world that is clearly not happy, not supreme happiness. Yet it's wanted, some part of it's wanted.
Yeah. I hear that it's wanting not to be at peace and to push that out of awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And I also hear that that's like the so that there's like a sense that I have everything together, like I have myself together.
One more way to fool ourselves.
I've got this, Jesus. I've got this handled.
I'll call you next week if something else comes up. It's good that he wants so much to help, but he can't help without the invitation.
Mhm. Let's look at Jesus. Are we holding or releasing right now? Are we really hanging on to this desire? Is it something we just relish and I don't want to look at all? Or is there some willingness to see there's another way to look at this? Eric or Martin, are you hearing anything you want to share from Jesus?
Yeah, I'm just aligned with my sisters here. I've just heard the desire for guilt, then it became unworthiness, then playing small. So it was basically what my sisters were saying.
Mhm. Yeah, it was just showing me how much I don't want to see when I'm not at peace. He's saying, just ask me. Am I at peace right now? Yeah, he's showing me how much I like to pretend. Somebody will say, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. Kind of thing.
Yeah, it ties into dishonesty with myself. Not wanting to be completely honest. Oh, wow. Someone's joining us.
Mhm. Welcome. we're looking at the desire. What desire are we looking at?
To downplay.
To downplay when we're not at peace. We're not feeling at peace. And we're so used to habitually ignoring how we're really feeling or what's really going on. And we may be upset, but sometimes we think we know why we're upset. And Jesus has been telling us, you're never upset for the reason you think. So we're just looking at this constant level, it seems like, of perhaps not being at peace, but telling ourselves, oh no, I'm at peace. Everything's fine. I'm okay. And relishing that.
Relishing how we love to travel in that boat of pain. And when we look outside, the waters are so choppy, it's impossible for the boat to move. But we're liking it, you know.
I'm fine, thank
Right.
you.
Bring me another cocktail. I'm okay with this pain. And there's some level of, can we reframe the pain? And there's a part of me that says, shut up. Let me just sit in my boat of pain and lap it up.
Yeah, he turns my attention towards the pleasure of it, so that I can see that it's pleasure, that there's a sense of pleasure in not being at peace. And to hold on to it and not want to let it go.
Mhm.
Is anyone hearing anything there on the screen they want to share about not wanting to acknowledge that we're downplaying not being at peace? It's like not being at peace is just the way things are. Inevitable. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not at peace. So what?
Yeah, I can be at peace sometimes. That's okay. That's good enough. But he's been showing me more that that's still confusion. And when I'm like interpreting that I'm at peace, and actually that I'm not at peace a lot more than I'm willing to admit. And so that's why this is coming up right now, is so that I can look at that face of innocence, that not wanting to see or admit that I'm denying that I'm not at peace all the time.
I've got a question.
Hmm.
So what if I can seemingly see someone else who's not at peace?
And that upsets you?
It's like they're playing a big drama, emotional drama. And what I'm doing is keeping the peace whilst they have their drama. So I'm not buying into the emotional roller coaster.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the key right there. Let's just check in with Jesus and hear what that voice is saying. The desire is to deny the lack of peace. not want to admit it. And it sounds like you're not getting sucked into the whole drama thing. You're observing it. So there's no upset there. And below that, let's ask Jesus if there's any upset as you observe the drama in someone else. Is there any denial of upset there? What do you hear?
I hear that I could easily go into a story that it's somehow my fault that this other person is upset.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm aware that that's a story.
Mm-hmm. And you're able then to give that up? Give up the story?
So that's what I'm practicing right now. Yeah. Not buying into it. Because it's that thing, don't let your brother be sick. If I buy into the drama, then he is in hell.
Mm.
But there's no such thing. Otherwise, Jesus isn't Jesus and God isn't God.
Yeah. And recognizing how much we relish denying that we're not at peace. And seeing in another sometimes their lack of peace, if we're looking, can be a reflection. It can be a place to look. With this practice here, with looking at the relishing of desires, it's recognizing that we don't have to re-experience or experience any of the upset or what we may be observing, but it's recognizing that we relish the drama, we relish the upset, and then we want to pretend, no, I don't relish it. This is not good. No, we're just looking at the relishing, which is the way consciousness plays to try to get us hooked into being upset.
Yeah, so it's that thing of like, who would react to figures in a dream if they knew it was a dream? I'm not saying that I don't react. I have done. I've had a fallout with my neighbours a couple of days ago. But that's not right now. That's not in this moment now.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happening. There's no upset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, checking in the moment as quickly as we can to recognize what our mind is doing in the moment that something seems to be confronting us. And Kay talks about how quick this can all be, recognizing, oh, I have a desire for something here. I'm upset. First admitting, oh, I'm upset. I'm getting, I'm feeling sucked into something. And then, okay, Jesus, what do you want me to see here below my level of awareness that's going to heal my mind? What do I need to see here? And then hear what he has to say.
My mother taught me a lot about this because she had dementia. When she had dementia, she was at one with God. There was no problem. That was the atonement. Right in front of me, right in my face. There was no backstory. There was no upset. There was no illness. There was nothing.
For you either? There was no upset for you either to watch your mother with this?
What I'm saying is it was a teaching for me. And when she would go in and out of that awareness or that oneness. And when she was out, she was screaming in pain, screaming. So, and in the moment she was screaming, you know, it was like God was telling me, you to see your mother beyond the surface. Your mother is this Holy Son of God. There's nothing going on with your mother. Like I've to train her mind to the atonement. That's you know, that's my responsibility. I'm not saying that there weren't moments when I got upset that she looked like she was suffering. At those times she was screaming. But in truth, there is no such thing as suffering. There's only the joy of God. There's only peace. And it's my duty this is what I understand it means to be a teacher of God. To teach my mother that she was not in pain. She was at one with God, and she always has been and always will be. This is the first time I was able to connect with my mother properly at the end of her life. When her illness or whatever had pushed her into that place where she was totally at one with God. When she was in that state, she was not in pain. She could walk across the room as fast as anybody. She could walk upstairs. Like, it was wonderful. It was a brilliant, brilliant teaching for me.
Wow.
Like, I feel so blessed and happy, you know, for that gift of seeing what I saw with my mum.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing is that the previous choice for upset to see your mother in these different states just went right to the miracle.
Yes. And so now I have someone who, you know, wants me to join in with his drama, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not. How would that serve anybody?
It's amazing to watch our minds in the confronting of that immediate moment. And where does my mind, where do my thoughts want to go? And the consciousness wants to hook us, and then to say, no, I'm not going down that path. That constant opportunity awareness to say, no, I'm not going to allow this to upset me. Jesus, what would you have me see right now in this situation? And a lot of times in just quote unquote ordinary everyday stuff that goes on, where there's not some big confrontation, it's recognizing, where am I relishing being upset, not at peace? Where am I relishing not being at peace? What am I watching my thoughts? And then what choice am I going to make about saying no to that? Or am I going to go along with it and let it carry me off? So thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
There's an idea that there's some sort of safety in downplaying when I'm not at peace. Safety, comfort, protection. And admitting it would be no bueno.
Not good.
I mean, I can't relate to that right now, but I know that there's no condemnation in God and there's no condemnation in me.
So we're looking at the relishing of not being at peace. And wanting to downplay any what seems to be low-key thoughts about our brother, about an assignment, about anything, something that comes up where we recognize we're not at peace. And the willingness to look at the relishing of that. And Renee brought up this desire for us to look at today. As a play in consciousness that she wants to be, we all want to be aware of. It seems below the level of our awareness almost.
And I'm hearing all the powers speaking my voice, saying what Jesus is telling me. That's where when I join with my brothers, I can say no to the ego right now and see that it's like see the power in going within, going to him and asking what his interpretation is, and then letting that come through. So that it still feels like there's a little bit of holding, but it feels light as well. Like it's not like there's willingness to see it differently right now.
So we can go within and ask Jesus, am I holding or am I releasing in this moment with this desire to want to downplay not being at peace?
Yeah, it feels clear.
Does anyone
Here.
want to share? Yeah, what they're hearing?
It's here like it's an easy one to overlook because we're very used to our coping mechanisms.
He was also showing me that something that seems so innocuous, like mind wandering, is something that I can see here that I have a desire for, or it wouldn't be showing up. I can be sitting at meditation in the morning and suddenly realize my mind is off who knows where. And this is not being at peace. I'm not at peace with this. However, it seems so natural to let my mind wander. So there's these very subtle ways that seem not a big deal. Like we're also used to mind wandering. But, Jesus keeps saying, you have the ability given by God to monitor your thoughts and to change that and bring them back to the light.
And the mind can play a great game on those of us on the spiritual path that we should somehow wear a mask of peace. We have to be this certain way for each other. Be aware of that.
It's not spiritual to be upset.
Downplaying, exactly.
Downplaying the dishonesty. Yeah.
So, but the ego is in a constant state of upset, because that's what the ego is. And it's upset because it doesn't exist. It's upset because it has no foundation. So I'm well aware of that. So my only thing is to listen to the right voice, i.e. listen to the voice for peace, which is God's voice. And ignore that the ego is constantly or trying to demand my attention. But I'm already wise to the game.
Peace is identity. It's what I am before thought, feeling, and emotion.
And then it becomes a laughable thing.
Yeah.
What's that, Julie?
It becomes a laughable thing because the ego can't touch what you really are. It can't do anything about it. It can't do it. Like, God is the reality and the ego can't do anything about that. That's why it's pissed off.
Yeah, and with this particular practice that Jesus, the New Covenant, teaches, it's like acknowledging that if any upset shows up, it's because I asked for it, I want it. At some level that I, as Renee was saying, that I don't want to recognize, I don't want to acknowledge. Yeah, and then bringing, bringing that back to the light, just saying no. Sometimes it seems like I'm saying no, 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 no. A lot. And here I am at a spiritual center and, a spiritual person. Well, that brings up even more stuff, it seems like, to look at and say, nope, not buying into that. Because I'm willing to look. There's a willingness there. So Jesus, are we ready to see this differently? Are we ready for a miracle?
I just feel a lot of love in the joining. Yeah.
Well, I just heard no, we're not ready, but I don't know what that means.
Still some holding on, still relishing that desire. I've noticed that in the moment of joining and looking at a desire and coming to that place you were talking about, Julie, where it just seems funny, there is that willingness to see it differently. And then in those moments when it seems like the upset is present, then it's like, okay, what am I hearing for the healing of my mind in this moment? And then being willing to follow that.
I think it always comes back to the same lesson. Like, the past is over, it can touch me not. If one is present in that lesson, how could there ever be a problem?
Well, as long as I'm tuning into that lesson in the moment.
Yeah,
I'm not
but
always-
even if you're
I'm-
not,
Yeah.
and you get upset, it's already forgiven. Like, don't like Jesus says to me, don't beat yourself up just because you got upset. It's okay. It's okay. We make mistakes.
That secondary upset, I call it, when I judge myself. Oh, I blew that or whatever. And then bringing that up for forgiveness also.
Exactly.
Recognizing there's an upset there too.
Exactly. Like, you've bought into an illusion. Oops, there you go again. It's not, you're condemned for that. That doesn't exist. God is not a condemning God, and God doesn't know anything about upset. Like, just doesn't know anything about it. It makes the conversation irrelevant,
Yeah, there's still the relishing of it though, because it still shows up. So
That's because we're not evolved enough yet.
yeah, well, let's go back to if there's still any residual when we were asking if we're holding or releasing. Let's ask within for ourselves. Is there holding or releasing going on with this desire to downplay being upset?
I can hear releasing.
Okay, Eric?
Yep, I can hear him saying releasing.
Releasing.
It feels much lighter.
I feel
Somehow
a lot
they're
like
joining. Yeah. Is anyone else hearing anything they want to share from Jesus?
Yeah, he's just telling me never, when you get upset, don't take it so serious. He just tells me every time, just remember, you're just a child playing hide and seek. Just see it for the fun it is. It's just time to give the game up. But don't take it serious and laugh.
And I can see the game of like shame and hiding and isolation. And self-soothing, instead of going directly to him like a big brother and just having a conversation and being so aware and not being afraid of the big reveal.
Being willing to look at deeply at and be honest about the plays and consciousness that go on, and give it over, and accept the miracle as quickly as possible. We sometimes here look at the desire not to have the miracle quickly. It's like we want to hang on to this. Oh, I really like this desire.
The face of innocence. I'm a good person. Good people don't feel this way, don't experience this, and not be afraid that we'll be destroyed because we had a blip. A kerfuffle, as Kay says.
I think it's to do with the fear of upset. So like if we're unafraid of upset,
Hmm.
then everything's cool, you know, and like a baby demonstrates that. A baby will cry and be upset, but it's not judging itself. In fact, it doesn't even know what it's doing.
Mhm. Yeah, the plays in consciousness are such that we really want to beat ourselves up.
We can go into lockdown.
And to recognize these are just plays in consciousness to deny God.
I just hadn't, when God's got his arm around us.
Yeah, Kay talks about the kiss from the inside. So, Jesus, is there any more that you would have us look at this moment? Are we feeling complete for now?
I still feel holding, but I don't know if that means just to be relooked at.
What I'm hearing is that we could revisit this and that we're complete for now.
Mary, this is Kathy.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Kathy.
Hi. Sorry, I came on late, but I don't know what it means, but all I got was when I was asking Jesus if I had a desire below my level of awareness to, what is it, to deny that I'm not at peace?
Downgrade it, downplay it.
What I saw, what I heard was like I have a fear of him or a fear of God. There was something about the fear of God. So it was like, hold on, I'm just asking if what else there is to that.
do here is below the fear.
So there's a desire to fear God there that stops us. And that's another desire we could look at, a desire to fear God. That God is not really going to be there for us. And these are just things we make up. But they're still, it's so good to dig them up and look at them.
I got punishment clearly, and then the prodigal son, the fear of returning home. And then if we did, just crawling back, I'll be your servant,
I mean, I guess it's like if we don't, if we just deny that we're not at peace and we just go along pretending like things are okay, then we don't have to face God. But if we are truly not at peace, and we, and then we have to bring that to Him.
Yeah. Just the willingness to recognize I'm not at peace and not just let it pass us by once again. And then the next step is, okay, Jesus, what is it that you want me to see here for the healing of my mind and a service to the whole? And he says just doing that simple practice, it's really quite simple, over and over again, whenever something comes up, pretty soon we become more aware. We're unwilling to let the quote unquote little upsets go by. And, Jesus promises that these are going to disappear the more we look. They just disappear as we give them over into the light. We see that everything disappears that we think is challenging or upsetting. Everything disappears into the light.
And to not fear the admission to ourselves that we're relishing it on some level.
Mm-hmm.
We're relishing it below our level of awareness, and to lean into that with Christ holding us and see what's there to be revealed, sort of relax into it rather than contract and fight the fact that there's a downplaying, there's an upset, and then there's the what do you call it, the impulse to downplay, and to just see that, as Mary said, that as a play in consciousness, and just really, really open for Him to come in and do the final step.
And don't cross the bridge into serious self-criticism, because once that gets flaring, then it becomes very difficult to find your way back.
Crazy bubble.
So let's close for now. Is there anything else that anyone's hearing they'd like to speak from Jesus?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody for joining. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. This was beautiful. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Okay, blessings. See you next week.
Blessings.